Welcome everyone, one and all. This is the 11th episode of the Unbanned podcast, and we have one thing to say. Unbanned Treasure Hunt. My name's Jake, and I've got still my best two buds in the world, Justin.
Yeah.
And Jordan.
I am Jordan.
Here with me today, and we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering. Or are we? Maybe we'll talk about something else.
It's Legends of Runeterra time.
No. It's not time yet.
Is this the Pokemon episode we were planning?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about how Charmander's really broken.
I'm doing a Nuxlock.
We are going to be talking about something we've been meaning to discuss on the show for quite a while. We really haven't found a time for it. Luckily, Standard is kind of slow right now. At least we, recording right now on Sunday, we're in between tournaments. The SCG Invitational is going on right now, which we are probably covering next week. But pretty much nothing else happened this week. Just a bunch of Oko and Standard, not a lot of crazy things in Modern. So we're going to talk about a new announcement today. The historic announcement, or at least as I'm calling it. It's actually the November 2019 State of the Game article. But that's boring.
The biggest thing from this is kind of what they're doing with Historic, and also the fact that they're adding Pioneer eventually. Those are the two earth-shattering announcements that I, at least, was the most interested in. And I guess Friends List is cool, too.
As someone who streams this game, that Magic the Gathering Arena game, like, every other day or so, the performance check-in saying that my game will stop lagging about an hour into my stream, very exciting.
Yeah, that is nice. You don't have to take a break to restart the game every hour now if you're streaming, or if you're just wanting to play for long periods of time.
I didn't know this. Apparently, the memory leak is linked to the pets, so me clicking my fox was making it so my stream looked worse.
The fox was a double agent?
The whole time, yeah.
That's why I always chose the cat.
The cat was worse.
The cat was in on it, too.
The cat's actually worse because it has all these, like, fire effects and stuff on it. So
Well, I don't click it. I just pet him.
You can't stop
Give him his
You
lovin's.
can't stop your opponent from clicking him, though.
Isn't that just Magic in a nutshell, though? That's like a metaphor. They add this cool thing that they think everyone will love, and it breaks the game.
Look, we have Oko. Oops. Look, we added a fox. Oops.
So, to quickly cover what's in the announcement, they're fixing a lot of performance issues. They're adding the first rollout of social features, which is the friends list, basically. You're going to be able to add your friends, send friend requests, block friends if you want. You can do direct challenges to them more easily. It's really cool. Kind of been waiting for that a long time. But the big one, like Jordan mentioned, is they are announcing all the cards they're going to add to Historic for the first rollout coming up here on the 21st. That's this Thursday. And on top of that, they're also going to eventually work towards some other formats. They basically said there's not a timeline for it, but they want to work towards having Pioneer on MTG Arena.
Which I'm excited for. I'm also extremely excited for the way that they're doing it. They said they're going to do what's called remastered sets, is what they're calling them. And these are sets where they've taken, say, like if they did it with Innistrad, they take, Innistrad, Dark Ascension, and Avacyn Restored, and they would mash them into one set and remove a lot of the draft chaff and then have you buy that. That way you get a lot of the key cards from the set, but you don't have to like build up a bunch of 2/2 bears that they reprint for draft formats,
I can't wait till they're like, yeah, let's remove all the chaff. And they're like, all right, on to Kaladesh. Let's get rid of all these puzzle knots here.
I think those are the type of cards they're going to include, obviously. But I'm gonna laugh really hard if there's like a 3/3, like, like a Grey Ogre, or like a bear that just becomes important for some reason and it wasn't included.
Tolarian Scholar.
Yeah, like Tolarian Scholar becomes a staple.
I feel like Tolarian Scholar is never going to be a staple, but yeah, I think if that did happen where there was something they didn't include in the remastered sets, they would just add it because it seems like they're okay with just adding single cards like they are with Historic.
Excuse my pronunciation here, but Miragonda Petroglyphs would be a card that would make Tolarian Scholar much better.
What is that card?
So Miragonda Petroglyphs is 3 and a green. Enchantment creatures with no abilities get +2/+2. Confirmed for Historic, I bet.
Vanilla Tribal is a thing?
Yeah. This card came out a long time ago. It's good with tokens, really, is what it's for.
They should do more vanilla tribal. I'd kind of be into that.
It's interesting. I'm sure they would include that card just because it's an interesting card. It's clearly a Johnny or a Timmy card.
Yeah, it's definitely got some build around to it.
I want them to like blow up the rules one day and put like creatures with no abilities gain trample. So then it's stuck in this limbo of does it have trample or doesn't.
Layers.
I don't even know how that would. Yeah, I don't even know how that would resolve. I don't know enough about layers.
It's like an onion, except reversed and cards. So don't eat it. All right, well, with that, let's move on to the actual meat of the episode this week. So the other thing they announced is that they are doing a rollout of 20 cards just from Magic's history that they think are interesting and will promote new archetypes. They're calling it Historic Anthology 1. It's going to release with Historic on the 21st. You can craft them as normal, 1-for-1 wildcard rate, so none of that 2-for-1 BS that we had before. And if you want, you can pay 3,400 gems and just buy all 80 cards, full playsets of each one from the store, which is fantastic. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's honestly the best thing I saw out of that whole announcement.
But a lot of the cards are really interesting, and what we're doing this week is we are going to give you a few cards that we would be excited to see in one of these anthologies. So before we move on to our list, though, we want to tell you what's in this anthology. So we have Sarah Ascendant, Soul Warden. How do you say that?
Kinsbale Cavalier.
Kinsbale Cavalier. Treasure Hunt, which is our unban, because that card has so much potential to be broken. Distant Melody, Cryptbreaker, which is my favorite of the picks. Hypnotic Spectre, Phyrexian Arena, Tendrils of Corruption, Kiln Fiend, Goblin Matron, Hidetsugu's Second Right, Elvish Visionary, Fauna Shaman, Imperious Perfect, Burning Tree Emissary, Captain Sisay, Ornithopter, Mindstone, and Dark Steel Reactor.
It's an interesting batch of cards. I think the biggest gain from this was for elves, honestly.
Yeah, I'm building Elf Ball like the first week.
It's gonna be scary, honestly.
As long as there aren't too many buffs going on them, it's not too bad because we have a couple of different board wipes in the format. I don't think it'll be too terrible, but Elf Ball definitely got a huge game with these cards. It seems very powerful now.
Yeah, Elvish Visionary especially is like probably one of the best. It's secretly one of the best cards in elf lists.
Secretly, I think anyone who doesn't realize how good Elvish Visionary is has not played Elf Ball.
Well, a lot of people see like the Lords and in the modern version, the cards that just tap for like a bunch of mana, and they're like, wow, those are the most powerful things. It's like, you don't seem to understand how important it is to have an elf on the field that just replaces itself.
Yeah, people seem to see people like Azuri or Elvish Archdruid as the scary cards in the deck, but you can't really get them in your hand unless you have some kind of way to draw them, or if they're in your opening hand, or just luck.
And my favorite card of this batch, Cryptbreaker, is kind of along the same lines. The zombie decks of Shadow's Block were really enabled by Cryptbreaker. That was like the card. It's an engine to make more zombies. It draws you cards, and it's 1 mana. It's insanely good.
So with Historic, are they adding in like Amonkhet and Kaladesh to it? Or have they not added those yet? Because I know there's that one card in Amonkhet that lets you play zombies from the graveyard. That can make zombies very good.
I don't think they're in the format yet. I would expect that Kaladesh, Shadows, and Eldritch Moon, Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, those are going to probably be some of the first sets added when they do the remasters, because they are pretty much already coded in the game. When I was in the closed alpha, I was playing Kaladesh cards and Amonkhet cards. So they're in there, they just aren't turned on.
So yeah, the other thing that I kind of want to mention is Treasure Hunt. What do you guys think we could break using Treasure Hunt?
To start, Treasure Hunt is really famous for...
It's one land spy.
Justin, do you want to introduce what Treasure Hunt is? This is really like... You have way more
this
experience
is your
with
thing,
Treasure Hunt
man.
than I do.
I do have a deck with Treasure Hunt in it, so yeah, I will gladly read it for you. So Treasure Hunt is a 2-drop sorcery, 1 and a blue. And it says reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card, then put all cards revealed this way into your hand.
So
basically, you draw cards till you hit a non-land.
So in Modern and Pauper, this has been used pretty often to just fill your hand with lands, to either play with Borborygmos or Seismic Assault. I've seen some weird aggressive mining lists before.
Seismic Swans.
Yeah, Seismic Swans. That's Seismic Assault.
That's the deck I built. Yep. It's a fun one.
I think in Historic, it could pair well with like a self-mill strategy, because you get down towards the bottom of your deck, and if you've milled a lot of your lands, or a lot of your non-land cards into your graveyard already, this could be the last little bit to clear out your deck for maybe a Jace win.
You could also do something like, does Unmoored Ego allow you to self-target?
Yes.
Because if you can self-target, you could play something like just like 4 Jace and then just lands.
That might be interesting.
I would do it.
Play a Jace, remove them, then just put all the lands in your hand. It seems like a lot of fun. I don't know how broken it's going to be, but at the very least, we'll see some cool janky builds.
The card I saw that, it's not a good card. Trust me. I know that. But Awaken the Erstwhile. It's 3 and 2 black sorcery. Each player discards all cards in their hand and creates that many 2/2 zombies.
Oh, that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, just fill your hand with lands, and then if you want to go 4 color with it, you could play the Gruul enchantment that gives them all a riot. So you can just kill them that turn.
Well, that'd be 4 color, which is kind of rough.
You could play...
Not in Historic. In Historic, you have a lot of mana fixing.
Fair enough.
You could play Drawbridge and just give things haste. It's only 2 colorless.
We're actually going through these and thinking of decks because we're probably all going to play Historic, because at the end of the season, which they've said will be in January for their Historic season, they're actually going to have a tournament, a big Historic tournament, and the implication is that you may be able to qualify or win some serious prizes from this. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
I'm really into this. There's been a lot of complaints about MTG Arena with how bad Standard is right now. It's kind of difficult to play Arena unless you're playing Standard. There's not a lot of extra things to be doing on the program. Historic is great because even after the ranked season ends, they're going to take away the ranked queue, but you can still play Historic between your friends in a play queue. There's still ways to play the game that isn't Standard. And that's something that's important to Magic. It's part of why Magic has gone on so long, is if I don't want to play Standard at F&M, there's Modern, there's now Pioneer, you could bind a Legacy, there's Commander, there's ways to play Magic and continue spending money on the game for Wizards to actually make a profit when Standard is not someone's highlight.
So one last thing. I don't know if you guys, you obviously noticed it, but my favorite thing about this, not a single Planeswalker. You think they're going to add Planeswalkers?
I kind of hope they don't. They mentioned Liliana of the Veil as one of the ones they were cautiously thinking of adding it. They said it in the first release. I really don't want any more Planeswalkers. We've got 40 of them in this format. I don't think it needs any more.
I will be the first person to throw in for Liliana of the Veil. Don't add her to this format. It's not... That card is very powerful. It's probably not safe for Historic.
I just want to ask, how good do you want Sultai to be, Wizards? Because if you give them Oko and Liliana of the Veil, I think everyone is just going to be playing Sultai mid-range.
I don't really want to talk about Oko more this week, but every time I see a new format like Pioneer, now Historic, I remember that Oko is in the format and get a little bit worried.
No kidding. Also, Captain Sisay's in this, so I don't really like the fact that they might be adding more Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's kind of powerful.
Sisay Tutor. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on that real quick.
Yeah. All right, so let's move into our list then. Who wants to start?
I would love to start with my 2 honorable mentions. So, as you guys know, I love black-based mid-range. I was looking at these cards and looking at some of the cards in the pool for Historic, Black actually doesn't look very good.
I would fight you
There's
on
no
that.
Fatal Push. There is no decent hand hate. Duress is literally our best hand hate. The best removal spell is Cast Down. Our best Planeswalker is probably like Liliana 6. Liliana Dreadhorde Commander? Is that?
Yeah.
Liliana
Yeah.
Dreadhorde Commander. Commander of the Dreadhorde. You have basically no really powerful, like, low drop threats that aren't Explorer creatures. So basically, you're going to be playing green-black Explorer, like the old mid-range deck, while people are playing things like Elf Ball and Serra Ascendant. Yes, Serra Ascendant. A card that has the potential to be a 5/5 on turn 2 or 3 in this format.
It's 6/6 actually with flying and
6/6.
lifelink.
And we have no Fatal Push.
Yeah, Fatal Push might be nice for this format.
As I'm reading my cards while we go through this, keep in mind, I think that black and white need, like, actually a lot of help in this format. Even with Serra Ascendant and Soul Warden, anything that isn't life gain based, you're probably not playing white. Like, White Weenie, I guess, seems fine, but I don't actually think it's that good. So, my honorable mention is Kalitas, Trader of Get, and Olivia Voldaren. Kalitas might be too powerful, but I saw Serra Ascendant and Kildenfane, and I was kind of like, Kalitas is probably along the same power level as those two cards. But I think Olivia Voldaren, especially, is an interesting card that kind of like gives vampires another angle to attack from if that archetype becomes a thing again. And
I mean, we're gonna get shadows, so
it's
might.
just fun in like a mid-rangey style deck. Like it goes long, it's kind of its own engine, but it's not too powerful.
Just to double check that I have it right, Olivia Voldaren is the one that's red and black, and then you can ping things to make them vampires and then take them
steal
over.
'em.
Yep. It also kind of plays with some of the Dimir stuff they've been doing where you like steal people's stuff. You could play Grixis, steal stuff.
I mean, that sounds really irritating to play against, but also a lot of fun to play, so I'm a fan.
Justin, you want to give us your first card?
So, actually, quick thing, just to make sure I've got this right. When does this go back to? Does it go to Kaladesh, or...?
This is just across all of Magic.
No, I mean, does Historic go back to
No,
Kaladesh?
Historic goes to everything on MTG Arena. So back to Ixalan is the first set we have.
Dubious challenge.
You can have your dubious challenge.
Give me dubious challenge.
No, Dubious Challenge would be pretty great in this format, I think.
We got Tristani. I've been playing League, I'm sorry, so I keep thinking that I'm saying Tristana.
So yeah, Trostani, and then what's the other card that you normally use to break the synergy?
Oh, does Charming Prince say own?
I think it says own.
Or does it say control? Oh, that's perfect as well. Charming Prince is fantastic. It's usually Flicker Wisp that you use, or Brooding Surian, which is from Cold Snap. Those are the things that get your stuff back.
Yeah, you can just Charming Prince, and yeah, you've got it all set up. You could just do your Dubious Challenge deck.
Justin's namesake deck is totally in this format if they just add a dubious challenge.
Give it to me. What will it break if you add it?
I can't think of anything.
I can't wait for a Moto Bug where it just gives me both the creatures. Or it gives the opponent both the creatures.
Much less janky things for me is I want Thing in the Ice or Bedlam Reveler. I don't care what it is. I want to be able to play Phoenix in this format. One of those two would help me out in building either mono red or blue red Phoenix, maybe Temur Phoenix, because it would be very similar to the Pioneer deck. And I know some people will say, well, it might be too good. I don't think so. I think without something like Faithless Looting to fuel it, which is another card I would love to add, but I'm sure they won't add anything like that to this format because it would break graveyard decks. So just give me Thing in the Ice. It's good for control decks. It's good for, is it Phoenix or Bedlam Reveler? Same thing. And Bedlam Reveler is actually already coded into the game, so they wouldn't have to do much to add it.
I think Thing in the Ice is pretty safe. Bedlam Reveler is probably safe too. I think those are probably good includes. I could take those.
Especially if they add Fatal Push. Thing is a lot worse. With Fatal Push keeping Thing in check, I think you could have both in the format.
Earlier, Jordan mentioned that there are Wraths in this format, so Elf Ball is fine. I 200% disagree. There is one single Wrath It is Oath of Kaya, so you have to be hard in white-black to play it.
There's Time Wipe.
Time Wipe is fine. If an Elf Ball deck is doing well, which I think this will, you're probably dead by turn 5. But yes, you can Time Wipe. But I really think, and this is a little out there, I think Wrath of God, actual Wrath of God, is fine. I think that's a good include. It gives white some power. It gives control decks a little bit more power. It has play that Supreme Verdict doesn't. Disdainful Stroke is in this format, so people can actually play around it. You can play Unbreakable Formation to kind of play around it as well, and it comes in the turn beforehand, so you always pretty much have the mana. But if you don't like any of those, give me Languish. Languish is an awesome card. It's very powerful, and it gives black control decks an actual sweeper that isn't just Damnation. Because I think Damnation is a little bit too good, just because color shifting Wrath of God's really powerful. Black already has a lot of great removal. But Languish, just being negative 4/4, basically Damnation against aggro decks, but it's not actually Damnation.
I wonder what their aversion to Wrath of God in formats is. I don't really understand it. I think Wrath is fine. They really like to make them 5 cost, not 4 cost. But the thing I was saying earlier is that I think red decks would help to keep Elf Ball in check a little bit. Just because dropping... So on turn, say that you're on the draw and they dropped all their elves, but they don't have a lord. They need to have a lord every time, otherwise you're going to drop... You can drop the 3-drop deal 2 to everything and just wipe their board. And I think that might be enough to keep it somewhat in check, but I don't know. So I am cheating a little bit because each of my entries in my list of cards I want kind of is multiple cards. The next one is I want better cantrips for blue. So they mentioned Brainstorm. I think that's a stupid idea. Don't add Brainstorm to this format.
We literally have Fabled Passage.
Yeah, you have Fetch Lands, and Brainstorm is the most powerful cantrip, period. So don't add Brainstorm. But I'm down for Serum Visions, or like a Preordain, because I don't think there's any insane stack-based combo decks in this format, so I think they're pretty fair right now. That might change as more cards get added. We might end up with something resembling a Storm deck.
Treasure Hunt is kind of like a stack-based combo deck too, so...
Yeah, but I really would like just a Serum Visions. Let's get that one, because then we'd have more cantrips, and I love blue cantrips.
I think that blue cantrips are fine. They're kind of like a staple of that color and of Izzet decks. Things like Serum Visions, Preordain, I feel like those don't really... In powerful formats like Modern, I think they're fine. I actually think that unbanning one of the cantrips on the Modern ban list would be good for the format. But in something lower power, like Pioneer or Historic in this case, I don't think giving blue decks consistency over other decks is a good thing. I think that... I legitimately think that something like Manamorphose might be like less powerful in Historic than Serum Visions.
Wizards, listen to him. Manamorphose will not be powerful. Please print it. I want to play Phoenix.
Electromancer's in this format, so no.
Manamorphose itself is a very powerful card. I don't think they should print that one specifically. But I think the fact that you just cantrip, you just draw a card, is better than something like Serum Visions, where you scry and then draw your card. Or something like Once Upon a Time, where you're looking at multiple cards. That level of consistency, I think, is bad for a format.
I think it's just weird because, say I wanted to force my Phoenix list right now, I have to play green. And that's how it is in Pioneer right now as well, is that Temur Phoenix is the way to go because Once Upon a Time is the best cantrip in both of these formats, just straight up. And I think it's very odd that the best cantrip in this format and in Pioneer, as an extension of this, is green. That's a travesty. That takes away so much from Blue's identity.
I 100% agree with that statement, but I think the problem is not to put in a better cantrip, it is to get rid of Once Upon a Time.
I would agree. A Once Upon a Time ban would be good. However, don't do it until you print better cantrips for Blue, because otherwise I won't be able to play Phoenix anymore.
If you have to take a hiatus from Phoenix until they put Serum Visions in, I don't think that's something they're really concerned about.
I just want to hit people with 3/2s, okay?
You can. You just gotta pay for them. Would something like Delver of Secrets be good in this format?
I think it'd be powerful, but not insanely broken. I would be down for it.
One of my cards on my list of cards I want is Fatal Push, just because I think it does a lot for black. It does a lot for keeping the format honest and like not playing 110 1 and 2 drops. That would really help keep Delver down. Like, you don't have really powerful counterspells in this format. If you play a Delver on turn 1 and I have a Fatal Push, it's probably going to die.
I honestly think that's a problem with this format and with Historic and Pioneer, is that blue doesn't have really any good counterspells. We don't even have like a Mana Leak, and Mana Leak is pretty much seen as unplayable in a format like Modern or Legacy, and I think that's bad. I think Mana Leak is another one that I would really like to add. I didn't really put it on my list, but good counterspells are kind of important. Mana Leak helps stop cards like Mana Leak helps stop really degenerate aggro decks by giving you a way to answer them cleanly, and they stop combo decks because a lot of combo decks don't have the mana to pay for it on turn 2.
They also kind of just encourage decks to go longer. I guess Quench is kind of like our Mana Leak for this format, but
Quench is so bad. It's
Quench
so
is not
so bad.
It's just it needs to line up correctly. It gets way worse as the game goes on, so you have to be cognizant of that when you're deck building, that your counter spells might not be as good once we hit turn 5.
I could spend an hour talking about why having a counterspell that only costs 2, that you pay 2 to not have your thing countered, is bad. Because
it is a problem, yes.
It's just give us Mana Leak. Stop telling us that Quench is good enough. It's not. It's a bad counterspell. Just let us have an okay counterspell.
I remember the good old days of Quench being the most broken card in that set. We got it, guys. We got the counterspell.
Everyone who was excited for this. I was a little excited when I first saw him. Like, oh, hey, yeah, that's good. It's only a little less than Mana Leak. And then I realized
that one extra cost where you have to pay 3 would be a lot. Like, it would help a lot.
It's a big deal. If they wanted to, I'd be down for them adding counterspell. It's a historic spell. I know they're not going to do that.
Another card that I was looking at from actually Pioneer, and I think would be a good fit for this, especially with Soul Warden and Serra Ascendant kind of putting together this life gain white deck, is Skullcrack. Alternatively, you could do something like a Tarkus command, but I think it's really odd to do a Tarkus command and not like K command and Ojutize and all those. So probably just Skullcrack, but some sort of way to consistently stop people from gaining life with value would be really good for this format. I think that while I understand people who like Soul Warden and Soul Sister style decks, playing against them when they're good is miserable. It's awful. You lose on turn 1. If you're an aggro deck and you're going up against a Soul Warden deck, you are not having fun. You just have to sit there and kind of hope that they miss on a turn and you can swing for enough damage to win the game, and it's going to take you like an hour and a half to play that game.
Yeah, there are a couple of things in this format that help with that. Like you have
Rampaging Ferocodon, you have Tybalt. I think that's something that deals damage the turn it comes out might be nice for the format.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was thinking, does the giant that stops damage from being prevented, not stops life?
It's not like a Skullcrack with 1 less. It'd be nice if it was a Skullcrack for 1 less damage. The other thing, I know a lot of people are going to say something like Rampaging Ferocodon kind of stops Soul Warden, but it's important to look at mana costs. Rampaging Ferocodon is a 3 cost, and Soul Warden is a 1 cost. That's a big deal. That's 2 turns for them to set up a 6/6 Serra Ascendant.
I'm trying to think of how the sequencing might work out, if that would actually work. If there's a way to gain that much life that quickly.
So what you would do is play Serra Ascendant, you gain 1 from the Soul Warden on... So turn 1 you play Soul Warden, turn 2 you play Serra Ascendant, you go up to 21 life, and then you can also play... There's the cantripping gain 3, so on turn 3 you could have your Serra Ascendant.
Oh, yeah, because wait, that would be 10?
No.
That would only be
Is
5.
it 10?
Yeah, you have 30. To be at 30 life.
Good point. Still, I think that Serra Ascendant is powerful and, like,
It might be nice to have something to keep it in check, yeah.
It's a personal thing. I hate playing against Soul Sisters.
As long as they don't give us the one where you reveal white cards, then it's not going to get too out of hand, I don't think.
Yeah, Martyr of Sands is what makes the deck, or makes Sarah Ascendant obnoxious.
Yeah, don't put Martyr of the Sands into this format, Wizards.
Please no.
Along these same lines, another card that I think would be good is something like Declaration in Stone. We have like Sealed Away and stuff like that, but I think just having something that's like a kind of low power Path to Exile would be good for the format too.
That would be nice.
I can agree with that. So I'm not exactly sure how much like cheating in there is in this. Is there a lot of like token producers / cheating creatures in stuff like that in this format? I'm sorry that I didn't really do my homework here.
There's Ilharg the Raiseboar.
For cheating creatures in?
Yeah, just cheating creatures in or making a lot of tokens.
You've got Ilharg, you've got Bond of Revival, you've got the one where you sack 2 creatures to bring something back, and I think there might be one other one. They're all pretty overcosted, which is good because if they print big creatures with Ikoria that could be bad with that, then at least you're paying like 5 for it instead of 2. But yeah.
You could play something like Finale of Devastation. You could play Finale of Glory. That makes a lot of tokens.
Command the Dreadhorde.
Command the Dreadhorde.
Yeah. So this is all perfect then, because I feel like people wanted this the most in Modern Horizons. Or maybe not the most, but I heard a lot of outcry for this card in Modern Horizons. And maybe not even the exact card. Maybe it's like Stepbrother from Magic Origins, but something like Containment Priest or Hallowed Moonlight.
That could be nice for keeping things fair in the format. Or maybe even just like a Rest in Peace.
Ooh. Thalia. Either one.
Oh,
Either Thalia would be good for this format too.
That's a great
Containment
point.
Priest, I think, should just be in Modern, honestly. Like, I'm not sure why it isn't. But Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, or Thalia, Heretic Cathar, both those cards are really good for keeping people honest.
I mean, I agree with all 3 of those. I think that'd be cool. Give white a boost in power because it seems kind of weak right now. And also, maybe keep the format fair a little bit with taxes. Could be good.
Also, okay, never mind. Let's say, does Captain Sisay put it on the field or hand? Or puts it in hand?
Okay, yeah, so you could build it with Sisay and draw your Thalia when you need it. That'd be cool. I have 3 left to go through that I think are very important. Or 2 of them are important. One of them is just something I want. So, Dreadbore and Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people will say, well, we've got the Elder Spell. We've got all these ways to hit Planeswalkers. And I would counter back with, have you looked at Pioneer and how many Planeswalkers are in that format?
And they have Dreadbore.
And they have Dreadbore. They have Hero's Downfall. Yeah, keep Planeswalkers in check, please. They can get insane, and when they do, it's usually kind of obnoxious because they're hard to interact with. We just need more ways to interact with them in general.
Along those same lines, Sorcerer's Spyglasses in this format, Pithing Needle would be pretty nice.
Oh, I love Pithing Needle. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So those ones are pretty obvious. Here's one that might spark a little more discussion. I want goblins. I want a good goblin to work with Matron, because I think we've got Goblin Chieftain, which hastes up the team. We've got like 1 Lord, I believe.
You've got Goblin Trashmaster, Goblin Chainwhirler, Goblin Chieftain. You have a lot of 1-drops. You have Matron. I don't think you have any other Lords. I think Trashmaster is your only one.
I swear, if you say
Legion Warboss.
Goblin Lackey.
Legion Warboss is in there.
Oh yeah, we got Legion Warboss. We've got Krenko. So we've got a good amount of goblins to tutor up with Matron. But I would really like a sort of soft version of the Matron and Ringleader combo. I think maybe that combo might be too good. It's not too good in Modern, which a lot of people thought it would be. But I'd like something like that, Or also, you could put in the Flash Black-Red Goblin that deals damage. That one I think would be pretty fair in this format.
I really do kind of wish they would just print Matron into Standard. I don't think Matron is too powerful for Standard. Your Goblin options are not bad. And I think that it's a card that'd be a lot of fun in Pioneer. I don't think it'd be too powerful.
In that case, since Goblin Ringleader is in this format, because he was printed with M20, I want another Goblin Lord, or I should say, I want the Goblin that when you flash it in, it deals damage equal to the number of Goblins, so that they could have some Goblin-specific removal. That would be really cool.
Munitions Expert, I think, is too good, because it's 2 damage. I mean, it's 2 mana, it's red-black.
But it only deals 1 by itself. You have to already have a board built up.
I think it's got too much potential to be Doomblade is the problem. It's basically deal 2 on turn 2. And I don't really know if like a Flame Tongue Kavu is okay for this format, but there is one in the format already. Volley Veteran. It's 3 in a red for a 4/2 Goblin Warrior, and when it enters, it deals damage to target creature and opponent controls equal to the number of goblins you control. The only issue is it's 4 mana.
And goblins don't ram.
Well, you've got things like Skirt Prospector, but yeah, it's a lot of mana to pay for it. But the thing is, when I played it and like killed something, it was really good. Like, when it does what it's supposed to do, it's one of the best cards. That's the reason I think Munitions Expert might be too much.
Let me point out why I think Munitions Expert would be completely fine. To be fair, this is in Modern, which is a bit of a higher power level to Historic and Pioneer. Munitions Expert was often not even something I could play. It's very good if you are established with a board of goblins, if you haven't been keeping them in check. If you play it on turn 2, it usually deals 1. So it's really good for pushing through the last few points of damage, because you can take out one of their creatures and then swing in to win, which basically makes it a little bit like a Temur Battle Rage or an Ember Cleave, where it's your finisher. Not so much, it's not really that good for tempo plays, because most creatures that people are playing have more than 2 toughness these days.
I mean, it depends on the format, but yes, I kind of get what you're saying.
So I think it would be fair, but anyway, that's my thing. Is I just want a couple, like 1 or 2 more things to make goblins a really good mid-rangey deck, because I don't like the aggro builds of goblins. They always feel kind of underwhelming.
I just remembered a goblin, and I want it really bad. It has nothing to do with Goblin Tribal. I want Zada Hedron Grinder.
Ooh, that would be a lot of fun.
Zada, for those of you who don't know, I can't remember her cost, but Zada, if you target her with a spell, it copies it and targets all your creatures with that spell. So what I used to do back in the Shadows and Innistrad days, and you play Silver for a Partisan, and Silver for a Partisan says whenever a wolf becomes a target of a spell, you make another wolf. So you would target Zada, and it would target all of your wolves with the spell you cast, which is usually a pump spell, pump them, make more wolves, and it was incredible, and I would love to play that deck again.
And with some of the Jumpstart cards, you could give him haste.
Oh my... Maximize Velocity would be so good in that deck.
Or Rhythm of the
Wizards. Give me Zada, give me Silver for Partisan. Hell, give me Mirrorwing Dragon if that's really what you want to do, but I want to make giant boards of 2/2 wolves and kill people with them.
I mean, if they were to go back and add up to like Battle for Zendikar to Historic, then that would be a thing.
I'm selfish and I want them to skip Battle for Zen because I don't want Big Eldrazi in this format.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't either. It seems like they're kind of adding the older cards for Pioneer, and they've got Historic at this cutoff point, maybe to make it distinct from Pioneer.
I have one more card to talk about, and I'm really passionate about it. I think it's really good. I think it also fits with Zendikar. As a side note, you might get goblins in Zendikar. That's where Zada was. There was a small kind of goblins tribal thing going on in original Zen, so...
Ooh, we get cool spiky goblins. I'd be down for that. Reprint Goblin Guide.
Maybe Bushwhacker?
Don't actually reprint Goblin Guide. Bushwhacker? Yeah, fine. Goblin Guide? It's really good.
So the card I want, it's from Shadows of Innistrad, and it's been seeing a lot of Pioneer play. I bought a playset at Vegas, and just because I like the card that much, even though I only need like one, it's Tireless Tracker. I think it plays well with Landfall, which might be in the new Zendikar set. I think it's great for green decks to have something grindy that's not too powerful. Like, it's strong, and it's very good in grindy matchups. You basically just outpace people. It gets really big. but it dies like anything else. It dies to Doomblade. You can block it. You can death touch it.
Yeah, seems like a fair card to add. I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I think that's probably my biggest pick because I get that the Explorer package is good and it's probably going to be the base of like green mid-range in this format. I don't want to play Explorer again. I hate that mechanic.
Don't worry, Jake. Explorer is not going to be the base of this format for green. It's going to be food.
That's even worse.
Okay, Justin, so give us one more card. What is your dream? Like, if you could pick anything, like shoot for the fences.
That's actually perfect. I had a card picked out, and it's an amazing shoot for the fences card. You guys have been talking about lands quite a bit here. And there's one land that I thought about, and I'm like, you know what? This won't be broken. It actually might not even be good in the format. But it'd be so much fun to watch people build around. It's Dark Depths.
I knew you were going to say that. And originally I wanted to put Solemnity on my list. And I almost want them to just put them together.
If they put Dark Depths in, they should put in Caracas.
Hexmage is too good, and Caracas...
It's a digital format. They can put in older cards.
I'm honestly okay with Caracas. Caracas also isn't on the the
reserve list.
Reserve list.
The reserve list doesn't matter because it's digital. Like Caracas and other, like the power get printed on MTGO because it's not ruining anyone's.
No, I know that. I'm saying Caracas isn't on the reserve list, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think Dark Depths could be fun. I don't know if it's safe, especially if they do give you Solemnity with it. I think Solemnity's a card that's pretty important if they ever throw energy into the format or anything like that.
I think the other problem is that there's probably already a very powerful lands deck built around Golos in this format, so that would just be another win con for it. But at the same time, I don't think that's too good necessarily.
So I'd say you need to put 30 mana into it.
Yeah, if there's not a way to Thespian Stage or remove the counters from it, I think it's completely fine. The problem is, what I realized is Sun Cleanser is in this format. So there is a way to remove the counters.
Oh, there is. Also, I was thinking Wilderness Wreck.
Oh yeah, Wilderness Reclamation. Ooh, that sounds like so much fun. Oh gosh, Wilderness Reclamation to stack up mana for it. That'd be awesome.
You wouldn't even
okay, just ban Sun Cleanser. Just ban Sun Cleanser. That's fine.
Sun Cleanser. All right, whatever. Sun Cleanser's banned, and then we can have our. I completely take it back. Sun Cleanser is safe, and they don't have to ban it. They can put Dark Depths in. Sun Cleanser says remove all counters from target creature or target opponent. You can't target the land with it.
Oh, cool. Alrighty then.
Yeah, perfect. Dark Depths. Like, Wilderness Wreck is good, but Dark Depths doesn't create mana, if I'm correct, so you can't even use that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. So mine is also a swing for the fences. Gonna use that phrase correctly this time instead of say shoot for the fences. Goodness. My number one that I want, and everyone's gonna tell me I'm dumb and I shouldn't have this in there. Can you guys guess what it is?
Let's see. Let's think of all the stuff. So Faithless Looting, any card in blue, red. So it's blue or red and or red.
Oh yeah.
It's not Cyclonic Rift. Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you.
One last one. Collected Conjuring from Modern Horizons would be really cool.
Oh, that would be kind of fun.
All right.
I don't think it'd be good, but okay. So my last one. I want Lightning Bolt.
I don't think it's happening. I would love Lightning Bolt though. I'm a big Bolt fan.
They mentioned adding Brainstorm, and I'm like, so if I can't have it in Pioneer, clearly they're not going to reprint it in Pioneer. This format is where I want it because they can print old cards. They can make this format more powerful than Pioneer, and it seems like that might be what they're going for. I want my Lightning Bolt. I want a format besides Modern and Legacy that I can play Lightning Bolt. I want Lightning Bolt on MTGA. Give me a Lightning Bolt. This is the best format for it. Just put it in there. And you know what? Format is historic. I can't think of a card you could add and have it not be completely busted more historic than Lightning Bolt. Hold up. They've got Phyrexian Arena on here. Phyrexian Arena is really powerful.
Yeah, I think that they do have a slight lack of like cards from the original set. Even if you do something like Healing Salve, put something from Alpha and Beta in Standard.
Yeah, not in Standard.
No, in Standard. Just put Healing Salve in Standard. Like, what are you hurting?
I don't think they can. I think a lot of the Alpha and Beta cards are
Healing
on the reserve
Salve
list.
Is not.
Healing Salve has been printed. Yeah, Healing Salve has definitely been printed a few times.
Okay. Oh, and also Kiln Fiend's in this format, and Lightning Bolt and Kiln Fiend are so good together.
All right, I got it, boys. Heirloom Minotaur.
What is
What's
Heirloom
that?
Minotaur?
1 red, 2 3 vanilla Minotaur.
All right, and with
It's
that,
printed in alpha.
we're going to go ahead and end this podcast because we're going long, and Justin has hit the bottom of the barrel. Thank you, everyone, for listening. My name has been Jake. I'm Jake the Jackal, Wiry Jackal, everywhere. Justin is dubious_Justin on Twitter, dubious_Challenger on Twitch TV and YouTube, and Jordan is It Fox pretty much everywhere. Throw him into Google, you'll find him. If you guys want more of this historic content, we'll definitely be throwing deck lists up in the next little bit. I'm going to be brewing with elves. If you guys have any ideas of what you want in historic, send me a DM. Honestly, I'm curious to see what people are wanting from this format, because it's something that they haven't done before, just this digital-only thing.
If you think Lightning Bolt's too good for the format, please at me. I'd love to have this discussion with you over social media. It will definitely not turn into a garbage fire.
If you're watching on YouTube, like the video.
Stop it.
Like the video if you think Lightning Bolt should be in the format so that we all have 0 dislikes.
If you want more from us, you want more of us, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/unbannedcast. We throw up the raw episodes, so you get everything that we record, not just what we edit in and think is good for the podcast. You also get...
You get to hear all the weird tangents we go on, and when we get distracted and talk about weird stuff for like 10 minutes for no reason.
And I swear a
Yeah,
lot.
we also swear a lot on the raw episodes, so if that's your thing, throw us $1, you get access. It's not even like the $5 tier. You throw us a single $1, you get all of our deck lists, you get every episode, every raw episode, you get blooper rails that Jordan puts together. Just check it out. And I think we're done for this week, so...
We're tapped out, friends.
That one hurt me.
We're going to say goodbye, and we have one last thing to say. Ban Treasure Hunt.
It's broken.
Right now. Ban it right now.
Bring me more lightning bolts.
Alright, we'll see you guys next week.
Make Lightning Bolt, but make it 1 more mana.